I think at the end of the day or the end of something, there's going to come to find out that that's what it was all about, is how much worth it, how much we thought we were worth it. And when we all start to think and to believe and to feel that way, I think we have something really grand happening. I grabbed a quote at the last minute thanks to Marion, she read a poem a while back, or not too far back, by Kathy Broom. And it says, "There is no more room for what I have outgrown. There is no more room for what I have outgrown." Thank you. Namaste. You guys are clapping because you're thinking, really? Really? Nah. But anyway, there isn't any more room, and I don't know how many times we have to keep saying to ourselves that, but I just love it because we keep using this. I use it all the time. I said, this is the prayer, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Except there seems to always be more. There seems to be more. I loved it with our new year, right? Goodbye, 2020. Kick you to the curb. 2021, week 1. Week 1. And then that taught me a valuable lesson. Oh, stop controlling the time and the space. But what it really told me was that every day has to be a new year. Because this thinking that at 2020, everything, like the virus and everything else is going to go, well, it's 2021. Boom! Let's stop it all. No, it doesn't always work that way. Because what we're doing is we're constantly evolving. So I don't care what day it is or what year it is, but enough is enough. And it's coming up to let us know so many things. This year, it reminds me of what I used last year about, what, for those who have had a real tree. So then you go, goodbye, Christmas, until like Valentine's or Easter, you're finding the little needles from the tree. That's how it felt this week. It's like, goodbye. Oh, a Christmas needle is still there. Something still needs to be known. That's all it said to me this week. I had every emotion imaginable. I know, Kyle, you think of me as holier than now, but let me tell you something. I had some moments this week. And what did we do when that happened? We said, let's open the center and let's have a candlelight vigil. We couldn't get the word out a lot to people. It was 4 hours later and we tried to do it. But all that mattered is that we said, what can we do? And so we Facebook Live did when Reverend Diane was here. We just did the best that we could with what we had. But that's not the point. It doesn't matter who's here, who wasn't. It matters that we took action based from a place of love. It's like I'm really scared now. I'm angry now. My inner child was out of control. I thought you said it was over. And then this is happening and it's scared. And so what you do with fear is you take some action. This idea that we have this philosophy that just sits around waiting for something to just undo itself or do it, that's not what it's about. And if it is, I think we're going to be sorely disappointed. We're going to be very disappointed. So, I learned this week about the house divided against itself was quite clear. And so I have a quote from Ernest Holmes. I have all of Rita's quotes, so I will be able to use them today. But I thought we would play with this quote from Ernest Holmes. I'll read it through, and then I just want to take a few little gems from it. Breathe. In our ignorance of the truth, we have misused the highest power we possess. And so great is this power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the domain of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought upon us the very conditions from which we suffer. We are bound because we are first free. The power that appears to bind us is the only power in the universe that can set us free. Back to the one power. And I don't tell anybody what to do. I only talk from self. But as long as we're in duality, as long as we have a good and bad power, we will always have a good and bad power. And we will never have this unity that we've been talking about since the very breath of life. And so if there was a God, excuse me, anyone watching, anyone here, if there was a God outside of ourselves sitting there watching all of this, then shame on you. Because that's what I'm feeling in this moment. Because I know it's not true. And if it is true for you, no one wants to take away anyone's God. We're not even here. We mention God a lot. We're talking the power. I love the idea of the power. The idea of the power. So in the ignorance of truth, we have misused the highest power we possess. When us as one realize that we have that power to misuse or to use, then we are free. Free. That's what I think that, at least I want at the end of the day. I want to be free. Free of what? Free of you telling me what to do? Free of you not being the boss of me? No, I want freedom to enjoy the very power that we were given the day we arrived, and much before that. That breath of life that we call God, that breathed the breath of life through each and every one of us, that says, I can't stop creating, man. It had a man in there too. That power, I can't stop creating. Can you imagine? I can't stop creating. And now we have the opportunity to create the good. If we want to know how we're using the power in our life, just look at our lives. It's not here to scold anybody. It's not here to say, oh, look at your life. Look what you did. No, it says, look at your life. Look what we're responsible for, and let's change it. And I'm not here to convince anybody, and I'm also not here to beat you up if you don't believe it. This teaching, this is not a bully teaching. This is only to say, hey, have you ever thought something new? That this might be, I don't know about you, but this might not be working? That there's another opportunity. The power is on our side. Wow. And I know it's really difficult sometimes because we can't see it. It's invisible. But that's not true. We say, oh, this power is invisible and you can't see it. That's why it's hard to grasp it. I'm looking at it right now. That's the clue. That's the, where is God? Where is power? Right here. Right there. This candle, everything is this thing called God. Last week we talked about the thing itself. And some people say, well, how do we harness it? Once again, let's control it now. I want to harness the power. Harness! You know, you can't harness it, you are it. What are you going to harness? But I get it, because we want to say, oh, bring it in so I can show it to you. Power. A lot of work, right? The title of our talk, by the way, never really came up, but it's called Work It. Work it. And I think we're done working it. Did you know work it, actually the slang, is actually a compliment. Somebody taking whatever their gift is or whatever their power is, and they're working it. You remember, work it, girl. And we're live. Yeah. I mean, I heard that from some kids that taught that to me. I mean, there was never a time in Hollywood where I went, work it, girl. Except girl's a little longer, too. Girl. Sometimes I even scare myself. If you guys are thinking anything right now, sometimes I do it myself. But it's the thing itself. And it works, as Rita said, by working through us. This week, my lesson to bring to you. I learned what compassion really means. because the human conditioning of Patrick, and we all have the human conditioning, compassion was not first on my list. Was not the first thing that came up like, wow, Rita, come forth. Let's be with this, at one with this. But I'll tell you what happened was we did not do that. First, you get scared. You ever been scared? Did you know that's what causes us to act mean? That was my little boy letting you know. That's what we do. When we get scared, we have to hurt something because hurt people hurt people. And we've all had our share of some form of hurt or some form of pain. But my lesson was in compassion because I was, doing what I told you before. I'm not going to watch the news until, you just happen to be doing something. There it is. And it has a power. I know I said there's only one, but the power of the internet does go, Patrick, there's something you need to know. And 100,000 people are going to give you their opinion of it. What are you going to believe? I don't know. That's what I did. But here's what happens with that. Is that I saw some things and I heard some things that were the people on the opposite side, once the good and the bad, and everybody's figuring out what side they're on, and they're all confused because they're all together. And they're like, wow. But what I realized was my heart opened, and I felt not sorry. Be careful of sympathy. It does no one any good. Just makes them feel like crap. But I felt an incredible pain that I had not felt since all this stuff has begun. This pain that said, all of this fear and all of this hatred and all this stuff is just coming up. And it's wanting to be known, and it's afraid. And all of a sudden, I just saw a whole bunch of little boys and girls in big clothes and saying, please don't find out that I'm a fraud. And I don't mean fraud in your beliefs. I'm talking about fraud as beings. I got to do this. I got to do this. And I had this incredible feeling of, I'm sorry you're in that much pain. Because you couldn't ever do, any of us could never have done the things that we've done in our lives here and there unless there was some misunderstanding. So the thing itself then works for us by working through us and is us always. Yeah, so it all came up and it's all, I hate to say this because it doesn't feel that way to a lot of people, but this universe that I live in, Patrick's world, that would be like an amusement park. Patrick's world. The world that I live in up here, y'all want to go, don't you? I hear you. Sign me up. I'm going. We're talking about the idea of heaven or hell, my friends. Heaven or hell is not a place for me to go to. It's a state of mind. And I have a choice. Or I have a choice to stay in the middle, which is worse than heaven or hell. Because that means you won't make a decision. I don't know, is heaven over here? And I've been seeing a lot of that this week. This I'm not going to make a decision. I admire you so much, just this is a personal side here. I admire you when you stand for what you believe. It is hard for me to admire and to use as my example or my inspiration when you're flipping. This day you feel this day you feel that, and I get it. That's kind of how life unfolds. But at the very center of who we are is this power. And I know the way it works. So it's not enough to know how it works, right? It's about how to use it, which we'll be discussing next week. So hold on. But we use it by recognizing, by looking in the mirror. If you want to see the most powerful thing that ever existed, look in the mirror. And let's dare to be the ones that say, I'm going to love in the midst of it. It doesn't mean that, what we were saying, it doesn't mean justice. Vengeance, there's not a way in the world vengeance has ever served anything. And if there is, please send me an email. When vengeance, you could say, has totally justified a situation. May it justify it. Our human condition is, see, I told you. I told you. I was right all along, bad people. I was right all along. And then that lasts for 5 minutes. And then we have to go back to living. And so I say that this, we were saying the other day, this philosophy is not some for the weak of heart. This philosophy is demanding from itself as the Creator itself has demanded. That's saying something. And no one said it's easy because we have human conditioning, I say with a smile. But I want to wind us up here as we work it. I'm going to have to watch that just to see how I did that work it, girl. Power here, here's the thing. The thing itself works through us, as us, and the thing that's working is spirit. I'll leave you with the Ernest Holmes quote as well. In that inner sanctuary of our own nature, this is beautiful, get ready for nap time. In that inner sanctuary of our own nature, hidden perhaps from objective gaze, nestles the seed of perfection. That seed inside of you that says, I don't have to work so hard anymore. I want to get this across today in this message, that you are perfect. Everything is unfolding from a place of perfection, no matter what it looks like. Is that airy-fairy thinking? Is that Pollyanna? Yeah. Yes. The other's not working. And so this, well, I say work at spirit, but here's the deal. We have a power that serves us as our servant. A lot of people do not like the word servant. But here's the question, and this is the power here. Are we going to come from, are we going to be, are we the masters of kindness, or I want to be a master of kindness. I want to take the power that lives within me and say, let's work it. Wow, it's like being given the kingdom and walking around and saying, has anybody seen my riches? I can't find them. Oh. God, I'm looking out at you. And I am just in awe of our power. It's time to use it. 2021, 22, doesn't matter. But I would suggest now. You are perfect. You are the seed of perfection. Namaste.